There we are. Well, we're in 15 seconds here. Just a second, folks. Got a little song for you till you all come in. I'm running behind today. Let me get caught up.
You're all right, Dad.
Tell me how there is trouble at every turn, heartaches in my front door, living life among the thorns. My heart bleeds and my mind is gone. Should I feel my soul cry as I reach towards the sky? Sing my songs when I die. Know my heart was pure inside. I have lived in a world of pain. Oh, I remain sane. Dear God, please hear my plea. Hold my head and let me see my reward is your sweet mercy. And now no more searching, I am free, living life among the thorns. My heart bleeds and my mind is scorned. Should I feel my soul cry as I reach towards the sky? Sing my songs when I die. Know my heart's pure inside. I have lived in a world of pain. I wonder why I remain sane. I remain sane. I remain.
Well, good afternoon, Rumble and YouTube land. This is Larry from newsfromlarry.com. Considering that's our sponsor, I am the sponsor. So newsfromlarry.com welcome you. I have my favorite baby girl here. So we'll see what kind of trouble we can get into today. It's just going to be a little bit of a mishmash. Could be talking about anything. Hopefully some folks will kind of show up or get a chance to look at this video. We're still in the learning mode, so we're gonna try to add a little bit to the repertoire today. Danielle and I talked here. We're just going to get an idea of now I'll tell you, Danielle and I are probably on opposite sides of the fence when it comes to politics, but politics don't trump love. I'll try and remember that. Um, you're welcome. If you can get into the chat room, you're welcome to ask questions. We'll try to answer them as we go along. So I think two of the biggest stories I want to start off talking about is trying to. We're fortunate that the pilots that were shot down over western Iran day before yesterday, or was that 2 days ago? Maybe 2 days ago. They were rescued, so we thank God for that, because that could have been an awful mess. But we have some of the best search and rescue teams in the world, if not the best in the world. I get to testify to that because of my experience with them. So we appreciate those pilots and those PJs and those folks that went the extra mile to bring that warrant officer, chief weapons officer, into and recovered him safely. So we're thankful for that. What are your thoughts on your war in Iran to begin with? Do you get lost in rhetoric, or have you got some solid opinions you'd like to share? We're going to encourage you to do that. And with that, I'm going to let my little girl take a little bit of a talk to you, and then we'll get on with the broadcast. Hi, sweetheart.
Hello, everybody. Where Dad focuses a lot on politics,
Mm-hmm.
I tend to look at the social aspect of a lot of things.
Okay.
And the last couple of weeks, something has been made glaringly obvious to me.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's just me, but it seems like people no longer how to look at the bigger picture of anything, or to realize that there is more going on, or more to what you see than what you see. And for a good example, take movie stars and musicians. All you see of them, 9 times out of 10, are very curated little snippets of what them, their staff, or the company that they work for want you to see.
Mm-hmm.
Take the K-pop industry as a whole. It thrives off of parasocial relationships. Mm-hmm. They want you to completely forget that there is more going on behind the scenes than what you realize. I've been a backup dancer. What you don't see is the hours in the training room rehearsing the choreography for these shows. You don't see the hours spent in the studio writing and recording and coming up with the new songs. You don't see the hours spent sat in meetings trying to plan what a show is even going to look like. You don't see dancing and singing through the pain of injuries that these people are not even going to let you see that they're even hurt or injured. Somebody gets hurt on stage, you're not going to see it. You're not going to notice it. You're not going to pick up on it. Why? Because you're not supposed to. The stage, and whether that be for concerts, for movies, for theatrical shows, it doesn't matter. It all boils down to the same thing. The entire reason for it is to create a whole different world that the audience can then be taken into and have it be believable, so that they are taken out of their everyday lives and away from their problems and worries and concerns and whatever happens to be going on in their life at the time. The whole idea of it is to take the audience out of that so that they get a break from reality for a little while. But nobody sees just how much some of these people bust their asses to give back to the fans, to make this stuff believable. How much some of them are trained in what's called fan service, which
Mm-hmm.
boiled down to its very basic meaning is give the fans whatever they want, indulge them in their fantasies. It doesn't help when you're watching something that's supposed to be being translated into
Mm-hmm.
your own language and the translations are wrong or translations get messed up.
Mm-hmm.
That happened recently. There was a fan meeting here recently where two guys were talking about the fact that they are best friends, but the translation called
Mm-hmm.
them boyfriends. In a country where same sex marriage is not recognized,
Mm-hmm.
which is a big problem. The company that was responsible for the translations came out and said, hey, that was a mistranslation. This is what it actually said. But fans are still running with the mistranslation.
Yeah.
You know, we take these groups, these people that, like I said, whether it be actors, Broadway people, musicians, it doesn't matter. It all boils down to the same thing.
Yeah.
We take these people that we like and we keep thinking that they ought to have something new out every week or every month or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Take musicians that go on world tours. That takes a year, 18 months, sometimes 2 years, depending on how many countries they include and how many shows per country. People do need time off. People do need breaks. People do need vacations. You do get to the point where you just burn out and need a break. You've
Yep.
got to look after your own mental health, your own welfare. The other issue is when people start creating relationships between people where the only proof you have is creatively curated videos or staged photos.
Mm-hmm.
That's the company and the staff doing that, not the people involved. Most of the time, the people involved don't really have a choice.
Mm-hmm. Well, with the go ahead.
Because if you don't like what the company or the staff wants you to do, well,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't do what the company and or staff wants you to do, then you lose your job.
Well, with the introduction to AI, I can speak from experience. They can make some believable videos. They certainly can. I think, and I say this probably every news broadcast that I do. Um, I'm, which don't let me forget, I've got a 4:30. I'm fixing to upgrade my website. I got a 4:30 appointment I got to go to. Don't let me forget that, please. But I don't buy into a whole lot of rhetoric. I try to listen to either side of an issue and then I make my own decision. That's because I'm an independent voter. I don't claim allegiance really to either party. Uh, so in doing that, independents are what elects presidents. Whether he be right or wrong, Trump's the president. I don't take my problem with him is he sometimes says dumb shit. Wish he wouldn't do that, but that's just how it is. It's the nature of the beast, so to speak. I'll leave the beast out of that, but anyway. But that's what I do, and I try to make informed decisions. Does that mean I don't? I learn every single day. I learn something new, and I think the day that stops is probably my last day on Earth. But that's what we try to do. Now, if you haven't been to newsfromlarry.com, try to give it a check out this evening. We've done a rework on the website, And once we tie the domain up, we'll be able to go live with it. I hope to go live with it later this evening to be able to see. I wanted to create a site that was neutral, that would show articles. It shows articles from both sides of an issue, shows campaign videos, both sides of an issue, and then people can decide. We've lost that in our news. We don't have reporters anymore. We have commentators. And commentators try their best to form their opinion and convince you that their opinion is right. Well, that's not always the case. You can't take like I think Danielle said, you can't take a snippet or a small cut out of an
Carefully
interview.
Curated. Well, my point was that carefully curated, but you're right there too about taking a small snippet of an interview and turning that piece this size into the entire article.
Yeah.
They're
I've
good
seen
at that
it
too.
so many times. And I do play around in politics, and folks, it is a dirty game. There's no doubt about it. It's a dirty game. So
Yes, it is.
I try to avoid that if I can, but sometimes you just can't avoid it. You got to go and meet it head on. But I have my reasoning for what I believe, and Danielle has her reasoning for what she believes, and that's what makes this country great. We're not a bunch of robots that are going to be led around by the nose by somebody else because they want to enforce their opinion on us. We don't do that. What'd you start to say, honey?
Well, and here's the other thing about you and I. We've known each other long enough. We know each other well enough.
Yeah.
We've got nothing but respect for the other one, and we know that the other one has valid points.
It's what I say. There's always
I don't
two
think
sides.
there's even ever been one. Well, I don't think there's ever been one time you and I have ever actually legit argued
Yeah.
and gotten upset at the other one.
Yeah.
I don't think there's even been once.
I don't think there has either. About what I know of, anyway. And that's part of the problem, you know. That's what I have a definite problem with. I get angry at times, and I shouldn't do that. But the truth of the matter is, if you can't respect your adversary's opinion, expect them to support your position. Most of the time, it doesn't work that way. Okay, you're going to have your opinion. I'm going to have my opinion. And then we see how it plays out in the end. But it's just like Danielle said, as long as they have the power of editing, they can make you look or sound like anything that they want to, just by using the power of cut and clip and copy and paste. All of a sudden, I'm something different than what I actually am. So. Remember, the only
or
thing...
you said something totally different than what you actually said.
Yeah. As long as they have that power, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is because they're going to change it to fit their narrative no matter what you do. So, I'm not keen on that.
And to everybody watching, we're working with a delay. So if we sound weird, it's because there's a massive delay going on between me and him.
Well, everybody's streaming at the same time, I guess. But we'll get that out. That's no big deal. We're still able to hear each other, so we can continue. What's your thoughts on the Iranian war, sweetie?
To be fair, I try not to think about it.
Okay.
Here's the thing. And this is just kind of, honestly, generally how I look at a lot of things. Mm-hmm. Not every country is going to do things the same way we do. They don't believe the same things we do. They don't look at things the same way we do. Things that are a massive issue here for those of us in the United States are a a complete non-issue in other countries. They don't care.
Yeah.
And this whole mindset of, if it's an issue in the United States, it needs to be an issue everywhere in the world. I have no idea where that came from. There are so many beautiful different cultures in the world. Mm-hmm. And it seems like people want to pick and choose what culture is and isn't. You know, take South Korea, for example. A lot of the guys over there, as like fashion accessory, part of, you know, being in fashion, it's nothing to see them walking around with these half skirt things hooked onto their hips, over top of their pants. That's just normal everyday fashion over there.
Yeah.
Here you'd get some funny looks for it, but over there it's totally normal. Mm-hmm. Is one side right or wrong? No. It's just a difference in culture and a difference in the way we look at things.
And I think with that, the only real problem that I have with what you're saying is, if you come to this country, however you got here, if you come to this country, it's not our responsibility to adapt to your culture. You're assimilating in my country. So what's the reason? I'll give you a good example. I'm not going to get into the Haitians a whole lot here, but the truth of the matter is, our resources kind of got swallowed up. That creates a lot of undue stress, and I forgot the point that I was making. The thing is...
Well, I think I know where you were going.
Go ahead.
I think I know the point you were trying to make. Mm-hmm. But my counterpoint to that is literally everybody in this country, minus the Native Americans. Mm-hmm. All of our ancestry lies elsewhere in the world. This entire country was built on being nothing but a melting pot, a huge mm-hmm. melting pot. Mm-hmm. So it's not exactly adapting to other countries. Having people from all over the world come to live here with their culture, with their ethnicity, with their customs, it's all part of what created the United States to begin with. It seems like people forget that.
Even if that, when they...
You know, the United States could be... The United States could be one of the most culturally diverse countries in the world. I mean, even still to this day, people look at going to the opera as ultimate high culture fancy. That's what all of the top people in the country do. Well, guess what? Opera's in Italian. How many of you are actually understanding what's being said in the lyrics to opera? Because it's in Italian. Nobody wants to talk about that. Mm-hmm. But yet they want to have a fit about people listening to Tejano, Latin, K-pop. That K-pop is partly in Korean, partly in English, and they even throw Spanish, Russian, French. It's all languages. At its very core, K-pop takes all of the languages in the world and picks the words that fit what they're trying to say the best, no matter what language they're in. It's essentially a celebration of all languages. Maybe not, maybe celebration is the wrong word, but They draw from all languages, not just Korean, not just English, not just a handful. But yet, you get people that are like, well, that's not in English, so I'm not listening to it. Well, guess what? I'm not huge into K-pop. There's only one band I listen to.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a couple of their songs that are probably the prettiest songs I've ever heard.
Mm-hmm.
And the talent that they have, there's 8 of them. 8. And they can harmonize their voices so well,
Mm-hmm.
it is unreal. And there is one song that they have that all 8 of them sing different parts of it, and they just waterfall their voices one into another.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in the 90s. I grew up with all of the boy bands and the standard issue machine of, 5 guys in a boy band, the 5-part harmonies, and you've got the baby, the bad boy, the nerd, the heartthrob, and I don't even remember what the other one was supposed to be now. But at this point, they all followed the same formula.
Mm-hmm.
This is 8 of them. And they pull it off seamlessly. It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
That takes talent to do that. But instead of focusing on the talent and the actual vocal abilities that these guys have, the only thing people want to focus on is A, their songs are not full on English all the time, and B, because of the fact that they're Korean, they do different fashion choices, and like over here, we tend to not be so touchy and feely, where over there they are. It's not a big deal. It's just a difference in culture. That's all it is. But people want to label and name call just because they look at things differently than we do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, looking at things differently all over the world is how we've gotten where we are with medicine, technology, research, literally everything.
Mm-hmm.
People being able to look at things differently and go, aha, hey, wait a minute. Even if you don't understand what you're hearing, the internet's a thing. You can go look up the English translation. It may not always be right, but it'll at least get you close.
Well, I think the only thing that I would say to that is, I'm not trying to change anybody's mind or anything else when it comes to culture. But if you sent me to South Korea, and that's where I'm going to live at, don't I have a responsibility to assimilate to their lifestyle? Should I? You can argue both ways about it. That's not uncommon, but I think the only thing that gripes me is that why do I have to make an effort to assimilate to your culture? You're living in my culture. So I have a difficult time with that. If they're coming here to assimilate to the American way of life, that's why people came here to begin with, for a better life, freedom of religion, freedom to worship the way that you choose to worship. Got no problem at all with that. What I do is when it's done for show, when the prayer rugs come out and hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of Muslim folks are praying, that's up to them. I'm not going to I can tear the Quran apart if I wanted to, but I'm not going to. But the thing of it is if you're living in my hometown, which 18,000 of them are, they're living in my hometown, then you have a responsibility to assimilate into the community. If you want to get through whatever the process takes to get your legal citizenship, you're going to have to learn about the United States. You're going to have to learn about their history. And some folks just won't do it. They just won't do it.
Well, you're not necessarily wrong.
Mm-hmm.
We've also got the cause of freedom of religion, which also includes Muslims.
Yeah.
So, and I've even met some several generations deep
Mm-hmm.
Americans that are Snow White as I am, that practice being with they're Muslim.
Yeah.
So it kind of varies on the person. You know me, I'm not much one for religion at all,
Yeah.
especially not organized religion.
Well, that's the great thing about, I think, religion and actual salvation are on two different spectrums. Religion is the idea of a man or woman convincing you that their view on what the Bible says is correct. Not the case. I don't take my orders from men. And that's the difference in salvation and religion. Salvation lives inside of you. Religion lives inside of them. Okay? Because man-made doctrines are made to do pretty much anything that holds you down under their thumb where they have control. And that's not what it's about, folks. Your relationship with God is something that's individual between you and your God. But I'm not going to, I'm going to tell you this. I have seen the videos. I make sure that they're real. And the Muslims are very clear. They are here to assimilate us into their culture. Their readings teach them that we're infidels, but yet they live on our milk and honey. They run down the government and anything that they can run down, that's what they'll do. But you're going to tell me that you're not assimilating to what my lifestyle is in my community, but you're going to tell me that I have to. If I don't assimilate into your community, I'll be killed. And I don't have to take anybody's word for that. I heard it right out of a guy's mouth that they busted over in Columbus for running a fly-by-night daycare or something like that over there, whatever they was stealing the money from. But these things have got to be taken into consideration. Folks that want to come, I wouldn't have, Daniel, I probably wouldn't have as much of a problem with it if they were involved in the community like everybody else is to try to make things better. There is a lot, especially here in Springfield, there is a lot of misconceptions. There is a lot of I don't want to call it, I'll call it faulty information that floats around here. The only way that works and
Yeah,
is to...
but
Uh-huh.
yeah, but look at history. Christianity has done the same thing.
Yep.
The Crusades, the witch trials. I mean, there's no one religion that is absolutely perfect. They've all done
Yes.
horrendous stuff in the name of religion. So, boil it down to very base facts of it. It's same shit, different day with religion. No matter whether it's Christianity, Muslim, whatever. Right now, Muslims are doing the same things Christians did during the Crusades and the witch trials. I mean,
Mm-hmm. Well, that's right. And history, if history's anything to us, it means we ought to be learning something from our previous mistakes, but it doesn't look that way to me. Looks like we're running into the same wall that we usually run
no.
into.
Which is why there is the saying that history repeats itself.
Yeah. But you got to learn from history too. You know, you got to learn and apply it from it, the mistakes that somebody else already made. I don't have a good answer. You know, I don't believe that when we get to heaven that there's going to be a spot over here for the Muslims, and then there'll be a spot over here for the Christians, and then there'll be it's not going to work that way. We're either all on the same page or we're not going to be there. So I see why people get confused, you know. You hear people like Mr. Swaggart for so many years just telling us how we should live and what it takes to reach those pearly gates, and all at the same time he's masturbating in front of two hookers. I mean, it's hard for me to stomach what you're telling me, all right? What was that old Bible scripture? Said, how can you see clearly, pull a splinter out of your brother's eye, and you got a 2x4 in your own eye? So I don't put much into televangelists precisely, and I don't put too much into doctrine, but you decide what the Bible says and what it means. I know elders have been placed in positions of authority. They're there to make sure that the church runs good. Not the case. Not the case. I will not submit myself to any man because he or she don't agree with what my view of, and I hate the word religion, I really do, of what my religion is. What's on your arm? Is that your shirt?
Pretty much.
Okay. I like that. Anyway, what'd you start to say?
No. Petting the cat. She's sitting right here beside me.
Oh, I wonder where mine are at. Well, there's Duke. He's over on the bed. They'll normally follow me around.
I don't know. My normally antisocial little kitty has decided she's going to be clingy today, so she's literally right beside me.
That's fun. I have a cat. He's old now. He's probably 13 or 14 years old, so he's running on his last legs, but he was an abused animal, and serious abuse. And I flourish on bringing those animals around. I had a dog same way. Been beaten so much it didn't trust any human being. I sat for 6 months out there in Oklahoma. 6 months coaxing that dog and trying to get him to come. And finally, he got to where that he was absolutely comfortable with us. He'd lay on hot summer nights. He'd lay in the air conditioning in the kitchen. Wouldn't come out of the kitchen. And then the next day, he'd be right back outside all day long. So how the hell did I get on that? I never knew. Oh,
my cats, I've had them since my cats. I've had them since they were babies.
Yeah.
And the little black one that you saw is actually the niece of my other cat.
Okay.
I've had them since they were babies. They've got their own individual personalities.
Yeah.
The little black one that I held up earlier, well, she's actually a tuxedo, but she's always been kind of not necessarily completely antisocial.
Yeah.
But she's just kind of got that personality of she likes to hang out by herself. On rare occasions, she will decide she wants attention, so she'll come around, but most of the time, she just kind of wants to exist in peace.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the way Duke is. He knows when it's treat time. All I do is shake that box and he comes a running. And other than that, he's a spoiled brat. We take good care of our animals around here. We do. But he's coming up on his last leg. Did I tell you I'm trying to get a service dog?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought I did. Hopefully I'll hear something from them here before too long.
Like the puppy dog, he's tied up outside because he'd rather be outside than he would inside.
Yeah. Especially they get cabin fever just like humans do. So, but I love my kitty cats. I do. I love my kitty cats. All right. Let's take a look at I don't want
I brought
to
my
do
coat
with.
in.
You brought your what?
I brought my coat in out of the truck. It's basically been in the truck all winter because I usually just wear a hoodie.
Okay.
I keep a coat in the truck in case of breakdowns. Well, I brought my coat in, and now Pixie's sniffing my coat like, what is that?
Yeah. Hang with me. Let's look here. I think I want to bring this up since this is historical.
Uh-oh.
What's going on?
You bringing up historical?
No, I'm bringing up a story on the Artemis deal. If I can get more out of this crap. Everybody wants you to listen to their damn commercial.
Well, here's the stupid thing. The advent of like social media has been both a blessing and a curse. Yes, social media can connect you with people all over the world. You can make new friends all over the world. You can learn new things. But at the same time, you also get exposed to, be quite honest, people that need to get outside, touch grass, and be in the real world more.
Yeah, really. All right, let me try this. Let's see where Artemis is at today. I'm still using, oops, there you go. Oops. I say, oops, yeah, oops. Now, let's see if I can get the volume right.
Group of the most elite human beings. Only 6 other living people have been to the moon and back.
I just walked up here and I saw this unusual slight coloration in the surface.
Harrison Jack Schmitt has the distinction of being the last man to step onto the lunar surface.
Apollo 17 astronauts Gene Cernan and Jack Schmitt are on the moon.
We were in a valley on the moon deeper than the Grand Canyon. That's a little bit hard to fathom.
At 37 years old, Schmitt, a geologist, became the first scientist to visit the moon. Part of a 17, along with Gene Cernan and Ron Evans.
I got 83%.
Over the 12-day mission, Schmitt would spend 22 hours working on the surface during 3 expeditions.
What do you think were the biggest lessons
about the sun and about the Earth at the same time?
Standing the constructs on the moon, we're learning more about the Earth and about the sun.
The moon's been out there recording whatever the sun decided to do for 4.5 billion years. And we're just now beginning to understand how do we decipher that.
Now, 54 years after his great adventure into deep space, is cheering on the new class of explorers in Commander Reed Weissman, pilot Victor Glover, and specialists Christina Cook and Jeremy Hand.
The crew is going to be busy making sure it is properly configured for that flyby. Be ready for anything unexpected, but have a great time. Enjoy it. That's the main advice, is enjoy the mission.
These days, Schmidt can't help but be nostalgic. His crewmates passed away years ago, but even at 90 years old now, the memories of his Star Trek shine bright.
This orange soil turns out to be volcanic ash that erupted about 3.6 billion years ago on the moon.
250,000 miles from home, walking on the moon, planting an American flag, extracting more than 200 pounds of lunar samples,
Get away down there.
including a moon rock housed near Schmidt's home at the New Mexico Natural History Museum.
The sparkling, I just noticed, the sparkles, that's the surfaces as well.
Long after Schmidt returned home, moon rocks were gifted to all 50 states, lunar educational ambassadors.
When I'm talking to young people, having a sample that they can look at and I can talk to is very important for making it real to them.
I was strolling on the moon one day.
Even as he was making history, Schmidt was also looking toward the future.
There's part of the recording of your time on the lunar surface where you said to Gene Cernan,
Well, I tell you, Gene, I think next generation ought to accept this as a challenge. To see them leave footsteps someday.
let's see him leave footsteps like these someday. What did you mean by that?
Well, I meant think big.
You think Mars is attainable?
Mars is attainable, and I think we will keep going.
Schmidt talks about exploration with a glimmer in his eye. Even after all these years, the final frontier is still exciting.
What do you see and think when you look up into the night sky?
I notice the moon more than I recall ever noticing it before. When Teresa, my wife, and I are out and the full moon starts to come over the Sandias, it's really a very special experience.
Oh, man, the glimmer is still right there. Joining us now is NBC's Aaron Gilchrist, who is at this Kennedy.
All right. The Artemis did do its flyby, and I guess they'll be circling, heading back home. They were only going to go around it once, I think, and then come back home. But I remember in 1969 when Neil Armstrong first walked on the moon, that it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool to watch as a kid. Then they came out with, I don't forget the name of the documentary, that it was all filmed on a stage, and they actually didn't go to the moon. And I heard that too, but we're glad Artemis is safe. And we're glad they did the flyby, but hopefully they'll, as the mind expands, so will the horizon. So, are you chomping at the bit? Go for it, lady.
Here's the thing. Literally, anything like that, you can argue it's fake or it's real. Either way. You're always going to have people that are going to think it's fake. You're always going to have people that think it's real. That's just human nature. It is what it is.
That's true. That's true. Some people won't get excited. I think there's an old movie, Apollo 13, the one that blew up there in space, but
blew up?
You know, who was that?
I said the one that blew up?
Yeah, Apollo 13, that was the one. But think about if Christopher Columbus, who supposedly founded the United States, which is at odds with Vikings, they say they were there first, which is at odds with, what was that army in Florida? Can't think of his name. Doggone it, I'm getting old.
Spanish.
But I think it's if they do what they say they're going to do and put a base on it and then launch there to Mars, that's going to be an interesting flight for sure. But NASA has pretty much made space travel so boring. It's kind of like a ride in the family station wagon. That's about how boring it gets. So, but we'll watch Artemis close. If anything else comes up, we'll sure let you know. We're proud of those guys and gals, and hopefully they'll believe we're going to get get home safe. All right. What else are we going to talk about?
I guess one of our biggest takeaways from the podcast today should be, it doesn't matter what you're looking into, whether it's politics, actors, bands, musicians, it doesn't matter what. Don't just go with what you see. Look into it. Look under the surface of it. How's it run? Are there contracts involved? How strict are their contracts? Don't just take what you see for granted. Do your own research.
Yeah.
Make up your own mind. Don't just go with the flow and what everybody's saying. Because...
Too easy.
Well, that's like, well, think back to like 2010, 2012, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
With Adam Lambert and Tommy Joe Ratliff. Everybody swore those two were dating. They never did. Yes, Adam Lambert's gay, but Tommy Joe Ratliff's straight.
Okay.
But yet, no matter how many times that was said by either one of them, in interviews or publicly, it got ignored.
Yeah. Because something tickled your ears. That's the thing about it. Something tickles their ears, they go with it. That's the thing about it.
And the thing of it is when you do that, you have no idea if you're actually right or if you're wrong.
Yeah.
Or how much damage your words can do to somebody's career.
Yes. Or the assumptions. That's what gets to me. You automatically know what I'm thinking and you assume what I'm going to say or do.
I've seen people that were the best of friends.
Yeah.
That ended up distancing themselves away from each other, all because of completely untrue and unfounded rumors.
Well, and then you find you just get to a point that when people make that assumptions, as it applies to you, block them, ignore them. I don't need that kind of stress in my life, Sorry, honey, I'm trying to do two things at once here. All
you're
right,
fine.
Let's see something here.
That's like one podcast Chris and I did together. People kept assuming that Chris and I were dating. No, we're not. He lives in Poland. I live in the U.S.
I'm not going to go there. Let's get the latest national.
There's something to be said for, using your brain.
Really. There's more than something to be said with what people need to do. They just automatically, like I said, hear a snippet and then, good grief, these are too long. I can't show any of these, Danielle. They're all 45 minutes long or what?
And I know we've got a weird camera angle today. My really long charge cord for my phone quit working. New one will be here tomorrow, but for today, I'm stuck with like a 3-foot cord that barely reaches my little wall plug thing so that my phone stays charged to do the podcast. So we're going to deal with the crappy camera angle for today.
That'll be good. We'll be fine. You're doing all right.
I don't know, Dad. What do you want to talk about?
I've been trying to think. Actually, all I wanted to say, what is India's strong, clear message?
Oh, hold up.
What?
I got something I can add. And this is specifically about the K-pop group that I listen to and watch.
Mm-hmm.
They just did a fan meeting. Like, it was 2 weekends. It was a grand total of 4 shows over 2 weekends.
Okay.
And at the beginning of the fan meeting, for all 4 shows, they had this video clip that they had shot. The whole purpose behind having this video clip was to give these guys time to go change clothes. They were doing a show.
Okay.
In the video, they get into an unbranded truck. Well, it looked like a Cybertruck. There are people in the fan base that did a GoFundMe to send a billboard truck to Seoul, South Korea, to the company headquarters for these guys to protest over them using a Cybertruck. In a 5-second clip. And in this clip, the truck magically grows wings and starts flying around the room.
Okay.
Are you serious? Are you serious? You're going to send a protest truck over a 5 to 10 second clip where a truck that does not have any branding on it at all in the video is zooming around the floor and then magically grows wings and flies across the room while the truck is the size of a toy car and the people driving it are the size of borrowers? You're really going to try to ruin the lives and careers of these guys over a 10-second clip that they had no control over what they were doing. That is the company and staff that decides that, not them.
Yeah.
Another thing, one of the guys in the group made the comment that fan meetings are different than concerts.
Yeah.
Because the fan meetings typically only happen there in South Korea, whereas the concerts are global. So at the concerts, you get people that go to the concerts just because they like the songs, not necessarily because they know anything about the band. But the people that go to South Korea for the fan meets are there because they like the guys in the band. Which, he's got a point. You have to actually follow that band closely and appreciate the different members of that band in order to make the time to travel to Seoul, South Korea to go to the fan meetings for these guys. It's an expensive undertaking to do.
Okay.
Especially depending on where all you're from in the world. So he has a legitimate point to that. Less than 4 hours after he said that during the fan meet, he was on the internet having to apologize because people were throwing a shit fit over the fact he said something like that. Why? He's right. This is also the same person that released a brand new song on his birthday for the fans that they then decided to have a shit fit about because he says the word she in the song.
They thought he said shit.
No.
Huh?
They thought it either should have said he because they thought it should have said he because they're convinced he's gay. Never mind the fact that he's never been in a confirmed relationship, never said whether he is or not, nothing. All based off of interactions on stage or carefully curated video clips. Or people just legitimately having fun. You know me.
I'll tell you what. Huh?
Well, hold up. You know me very well.
Go ahead.
My best friend is pretty much my unbiological twin sister. She is a lot freaking like me. Here's the thing. There's nothing, not one single thing that those guys have done on stage that her and I would not do to each other, and we are both straight. She's got a boyfriend. It has nothing to do with your sexual orientation. It's how comfortable you are with each other, how close you are with each other. Stop and think about football players that run around smacking each other on the asses all the time. It's no different. Like, seriously.
Well, I had a brother that was gay. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, my point was going to be, but because it's guys from another country, that to you may look a little weird because, you know, they're running around in these half skirt things because that's the fashion where they're from, where they are when they shoot these videos. People automatically assume.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? Instead of assuming, how about you do some research and learn a little bit about where they come from, and then make an informed opinion based off of what you have learned, versus making some kind of a dumbass opinion out of what you assume.
Well, they do it, but part of that is, and we're going to listen to a K-pop song. You got I don't know if you know this one or not, but we're going to try a K-pop song and just see what their music sounds like. I'm always up for learning about that.
I'm almost definite I have no idea who that group is. Like I said, I only listen to one group and that's it.
Who is that? Who's that you listen to?
Stray Kids.
Stray Kids. All right, we'll get to that now. Let's just see what K-pop sounds like. And a 1 and a 2. That's what old Lawrence Welk used to say. And a 1.
Baby, I'm on hashtag. Ooh, you don't know that I put. Ooh, hashtag. Ooh, hashtag. Yeah. 난 싫어. 달려. Yeah. 독수리처럼 알 수 없는 그 향해 달려가자고. Everybody give me room. 누가 뭐래도 I'ma do. Na. You don't know about me. You don't know about me. Na. Every rose has a thorn. 우린 모두 psycho. 누구나 똑같아. don't wanna really lie. Ooh, I wish you were from misunderstood. You ain't got a clue. Feeling like a village and everything. Can get it where you fit in your cycle too. Nah, 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 nah. You don't know about me. You don't know about me. Nah, 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 nah. Every rose has a thorn. 우린 모두 사이가 누구나 똑같아. 너나 나는 사이고 모두 다 비춰. Together in 너와 나 오늘이 우리 마지막 밤인 것처럼 미쳐가 보자.
Interesting. And that's K-pop, huh?
Well, one version of it. Believe it or not, there is K-pop that's in full-on English.
Thank you. What did the name of your group was?
Stray Kids.
Stray Kids. Don't look too excited.
Which is kind of funny since the old... Which is kind of funny considering the oldest one of them is almost 30.
Oh. And they call themselves Stray Kids. Well, let's see. How about
Okay, well, they've been at this for almost 10 years. Chick Chick Boom's a good one.
Let's try that one. It's 2 minutes 30 seconds. Can't go wrong there.
Is it the regular version or the turbo version? I'll know it when I hear it.
You'll know it when you hear it? I'm sure you will. Okay. Go to Rumble Studio and share. Chick-a-boom, huh? Alright, let's see what you guys sound like. I actually like that music. I don't say that about a whole lot of music, but I did like that.
Well, I will warn you, one of them...
Boom! 정중한 녹색 빠른 기록 어김없이 완벽한 판도에서 춤춰 내 플랜대로 keep going But this life is regular 승리를 너무 과시켰지 배불러 상식도 할겸 어디쯤 메둘러 우리는 주로 나머지 전부 Neil Armstrong
Yeah 안 되는 것도 없이 I do it Just pull out my trigger I got that
I'ma pop take a shot yeah Sit down my girlfriend my one night snipe them
Filling up my truck, yeah, you want that ride. Boom. Hit you like a truck, I'ma make you fly.
Boom. Vamos, I know that you want it. Boom. Lobos, we cannot stop counting. Boom. Ratatata, I'ma make it. Boom. Boom. Boom.
Boom. Vamos, I know that you want it. Boom. Chaos, we so catastrophic. Boom. Ratatata, I'ma make it. Boom. Boom.
boom, boom. 클리셰밖에 자체가 더 클리셰. 나에 대한 견해 전부 유죄. 바뀐 건 없어, I'm not a change man.
내 행보는 여전히 그 다음 level they pray.
표치 안 봐라, 시간 봐라, 치고 따라라지. I'm the owner of my goal. 진짜 만남 보가 make it right. 좀 조절 clear.
정적을 깨버리지 나의 trigger fire. 저 끝까지 관역을 더 위로 올려.
My amigo. Feeling on my truck, yeah, you want that ride? Boom. Hit you like a truck, I'ma make you fly.
Vamos, I know that you want it, boom. Lobos, we can let's go on it, boom. Ta 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 ta, I'ma make it, boom, boom, boom.
Vamos, I know that you want it, boom. We so got the boom, ta ta ta, boom. Keep it, go throw my bullet. Goes time, time, time. Egon, la vida loca, Egon. Good shot, shot, shot. Keep it, go throw my bullet. Goes time, time, time. Egon, la vida loca. Boom, boom, boom.
And now you can say you know what K-pop
That was the
is.
norm.
Huh?
That was the normal version, by the way. That was
thank
the
God.
normal version, by the way. Festival's even faster.
Okay. Back up where you see my.
Oh, yeah.
See, I did like that. I was kind of surprised.
But see, right there in that one song, stop and think about this. You had not only English, and I'm going to say Korean because I'm not sure exactly what their language is called.
Yeah.
And then you also had Spanish. So it's a lot of different languages.
Yeah.
Just whichever language happens to have the best word for what they're trying to say.
Well, and that was the thing I liked about that song. It had closed captions where you could read across the bottom of it. You know, I got
a lot of their songs
turned
do.
off. Yeah. I got turned off by the
And they've even got
daddies and go ahead.
They've even got songs that are full on English. One that comes to mind immediately is called Lose My Breath. Do they pronounce every single word correctly? No. But at the same time, some of that is legitimately a choice for the flow of the song.
Yeah.
Others of it is just completely annoyingly cute because you know what they're trying to say, but they're not saying it right because English is not their first language. And let's be completely for real here. English is not an easy language to learn.
No, it's not.
You know, we've got there, and there that are all spelled differently and all mean different things, but they're all said the exact same way.
Yeah.
We spell things differently to other countries. You know, we say aluminum, whereas other countries say aluminium.
Yeah.
It's the same damn thing. It's the same damn word.
Yeah. Well, that's probably a lot of the problem. I see what you're saying is, you know, if you got to listen to music with an open mind. You can't take a sentence out of it and understand what they're meaning because you'll get the wrong message.
Well, and then you've got other words. Well, then you've got other words that have two different ways of saying them, but are spelled the exact same way. Breath and breathe. Which, heads up, breath and breathe is one of the ones that gets pronounced wrong in Lose My Breath.
keep going. I gotta go to the
because
bathroom.
they say I cannot breath instead of because they say I cannot breath instead of I cannot breathe. It's still the same. And the one saying it, English is not their first language. Get over the fact that it's said wrong. Who cares? Nobody really should. You know, music itself does not have to be one certain way. You don't necessarily have to understand every word. If it's something that lifts your mood, makes you happy, and you can get up and dance to,
Yeah.
or happens to fit whatever mood you're feeling at that point in time, then roll with it. You might learn a few things about yourself along the way. Which, incidentally, that last band, only 6 of those guys are actually Korean. The other 2 are actually Australian. And then the other stereotype is, well, all K-pop guys sound like girls. Until one of the Australians from that band opens his mouth, and he's got a below the basement floor deep bass voice, which you're never expecting, and especially when you hear it for the first time, and it'll make you go, what? Where did that come from?
Actually, that's a good thing. Any music that makes you stop, think, check your own individual life. If the music lyrics hit you that way, I don't care what you're singing. Think punk rock for all I've listened to that before too.
Well, here's the funny thing. That same band has a song called Do It, where a lot of people interpret it to mean one thing, when what they're actually saying is, if there's something that you want to do, go for it. Do it.
Yeah.
Like, literally, one of the lyrics in the song is, do whatever you want to do. I guarantee that it's the best for you. Which is essentially a way of telling people to chase their dreams.
Well, it's as I said, music should touch you. If you're really into music, you'll get into all kinds of it because it's the message that music conveys. You already know I do 80s and 90s country myself, but that's what I'm comfortable in, comfortable story in, but I also listen to other and all kinds of music. And I will listen to K-pop a little bit more. I was surprised about that. That to be.
You're going to start listening to Stray Kids, aren't you? Considering you liked Chick Chick Boom.
Yeah, that was pretty good. That was pretty good. We'll have to do a show on them.
Well,
sometime.
just so you know. The festivals, the hip hop, and the turbo versions.
Yeah.
Are faster.
Okay.
One of their songs, they were the group I was talking about that has 2 of the prettiest songs I think I've ever heard.
Mm-hmm.
The one where it's all 8 of them and their voices waterfall into each other is called Cover Me. The other song is only 2 of them, and it's called Cinema. And one of the ones that sings in Cinema, I think, has probably the most underrated voice of that whole group.
Now, if I unmute my mic, then I can
I
talk.
can see that you're trying to talk, Dad, and I was gonna say, I can see you're trying to talk, but I can't hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now? Testing 1, 2, 3.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's me. All right. 10-4. All right, honey, I've got 8 minutes now. I've got a meeting in 8 minutes, so we're going to have to cut this off. Thank you so much for coming on with us.
But I'll send you a link, or I'll send you links to both Cover Me and Cinema.
Okay. Okay. As soon as I get done with the meeting, I'll listen
those
to
are
them.
two of, I think those are two of the prettiest songs that group has.
Okay.
And like I said, one of the two singing in Cinema, I swear to God, I think he has the most underrated voice in that entire group. He gets overlooked so much. He's not center dancer, and he's not lead vocal. But I'm telling you, he is so underrated, it's not even funny.
Well, we'll give them a listen. I love a good voice. I don't care what they're singing. I love a good voice.
Cinema is a very soft, more, not necessarily a romantic song, but the style of the voice is more on the soft, sweet, romantic side, if that makes any sense to you.
Yes.
I'm not even sure I'm explaining this right. You'll probably catch what I mean when you hear it. You know, it's not meant to be loud and obnoxious and noisy. Although, Stray Kids can be loud and noisy and chaotic, and I love them for it.
Okay.
Uncle Gary and I were watching the fan meet that happened on Easter Sunday.
Yeah.
We were watching it, and Kenshin was bouncing all over the stage like a hyperactive ferret. I mean, he was everywhere. He was all over that whole stage. Laughing and bubbly and carrying on. It was fun to watch him. They were all bouncing around having a blast. And like I said, the oldest one will turn 30 this year. The youngest one just turned 25 in February. And the bad part about it is, 6 out of the 8 of them have to go into the military. Because South Korea does, my brain went blank. I don't remember what it's called. Mandatory military service.
Yeah. There, you're drafted.
They've got from 18 to 28. You have like a 10-year period that you can enlist, but you have to be enlisted by the time you turn 28. And it's 18 to 22 months, I think it is. So out of the 8 guys, 6 of them have to go into the military.
Okay.
Starting with one that is one of the ones singing the Cinema song I'm going to send to you. Actually, they both have to go, but
all right.
One of the ones singing the Cinema song is the first one that has to go.
Okay. Well, send them to me. I'll listen to them. Honey, I've got to go. I've got 4 minutes. What do you guys say? 4 minutes.
All right. Love you, Dad.
Love you too, baby. Send me those links.
Oh, I was just going to say that, the other thing I was going to say is you'll never pick out the one that has the really deep voice. Mm-hmm. You'll never pick him out and Cover Me because he's got a hell of a range on his voice. He can go from below the basement floor deep to through the stratosphere high. I've never heard anything like it. It's insane what that man can do with his voice.
Cool.
And somehow, all 8 of these guys with vastly different ranges that are all over the place managed to bring all 8 voices into line for this song, and they just waterfall. I don't know a better way to describe it. You'll hear it. But it's just one voice waterfalls right into another one. And it's hard to pick out who's doing what.
Yeah.
And it is absolutely gorgeous. I've never heard anything like it. And I grew up in the boy band era. I'm used to at least 5-part harmonies. But these kids, these guys, it's a whole other level of just talent.
Cool. Well, we played a song.
But yet, it seems like everything they do or try to do, people are constantly bitching about it.
Yeah.
You know, they can't really say or do anything without people bitching, and it's like, get over yourselves, people. They try to pour their hearts and souls into everything they do.
Yeah.
They're constantly trying to improve. They're busting their asses to make their fans happy. And for what? For people to bitch about every single tiny little thing? And it's not even the majority of the fans doing it.
Okay. Honey, I gotta go.
All right. You and I will talk later.
Unless you want to keep it, I'll be tied up for about 20 minutes, but you have to be by yourself.
What exactly am I going to talk about by myself for 20 minutes, Dad?
Hey, hey, I got faith in you. You talk about anything. No. We'll close this one out. We'll do it again next week. What are we going to do next week? You ain't no help.
I know. I asked you what we were doing today, and we couldn't come up with something, so we just off the cuff.
Well, we came up with an hour and a half or something.
I mean, I guess we could go with music again, since you and I both listen to just about everything.
Yeah.
I mean, you and I could talk for hours and hours and hours about music.
I could, easy. All right, dear.
We have.
All right. I'll talk to you in a little while.
Love you, Dad.
Love you too, baby girl.
Bye, everybody.